one side effect of this insulin is weight gain. Because once you keep getting this short and you're not fixing your diet, there is no, every glucose that is coming in your bloodstream is pumped into muscle and fat cells, and specifically fat cells. So insulin prevents you from breaking this fat to burn it to get energy. That is why it's an anti-lipolytic hormone, because its work is to help you store energy in fat cells and not the other way around. So the only way to get this fat to be burned to give you energy is by stopping or reducing the amount of insulin. Once you reduce the amount of insulin in your system, then the body realizes, hey, we are not getting any carbohydrates intake, so we are not getting any insulin coming into your bloodstream. So the body now turns to fat to break it down to help you lose weight and recover from diabetes and hypertension and even cancer and obesity. So that is basically the metabolic syndrome. So that is how insulin works. Now you get that external shot, you will never recover because you still add hyperinsulinemia, you still have kidney failure, you still go for amputation because you're treating the symptoms of diabetes and not the cause of diabetes. Therefore, diabetes establishes itself slowly over a period of time. You can be pre-diabetic for 10 years. Then once it blows out, is a problem. Because anytime these blood sugar levels go up, then you will have a problem with your sight. Okay, you will lose your eyes, you lose your brain. That's why you have mental fogging. You lose your kidneys, and therefore, if you lose your kidneys, you'll go into anemia. You'll go into uncontrollable high blood pressure. You'll go into acidosis or alkalosis because you cannot control acid-base balance. You'll go into bones problems because vitamin D is activated by the kidneys and the liver. So you'll go into problems of the bone. Now again, remember, the kidneys produce EPO, erythropoietin, and therefore this is a hormone that activates the bone marrow to produce blood cells. So you'll go into anemia, okay? So imagine that, having anemia, having bone problems, having immune problems because you don't have vitamin D, having all these problems, and kidney problems will lead to more problems. That's why you have multiple organ damage. You'll even end up in a heart attack because of electrolyte imbalance, okay? So protecting your kidneys starts by protecting your pancreas. Now, come to think of it, in younger people, in babies and children who have diabetes type 1, an autoimmune condition, meaning your own body cells or your immune cells are targeting the pancreas cells, the B cells in the pancreas, so they are destroying them. So these children cannot produce insulin. Now, if you give them external insulin, remember babies, their stem cells are rapidly dividing, so they have a chance to rejuvenate their pancreas, okay? Because their cells are rapidly dividing. But if you give them external insulin, I'm not saying insulin injection is bad, it can be used, however, on minimal doses. But if you give them this external insulin, you're actually telling the body, hey, I'm getting something from outside, let's shut down the pancreas. So you start shutting down the pancreas of these babies, and therefore they will live on this insulin for a lifetime. What you need if you're diabetic, either type 1 or type 2, is 1 meal a day and OMAD. This will help you lower your insulin levels, so even your insulin requirements will be low, and therefore you will not overwork your pancreas. Number 2, zero carbohydrates. Zero carb diet, because carbohydrates are the reasons why you need insulin. Proteins raise an insulin level to a certain amount, however, very minimal. But carbohydrates cause a spike in the insulin. So if you go to a zero carbohydrates diet, then you'll survive. Even the type 1 diabetics will survive. Okay? Then, fasting is very important. Fasting is very important. Whether prolonged or periodic fasting, that still leads us to OMAD. So if you start fasting, then you're lowering your insulin levels to zero. The requirements go back to normal. You don't need it. You will not need that insulin if at all your diet is fixed, and therefore you'll start recovering from type 1 and type 2. And imagine for a child whose carbohydrate intake is near zero or even zero, then the autoimmune condition will start disappearing because carbohydrates are the source of autoimmune conditions. Number 2, their pancreas will start rejuvenating. Once they start rejuvenating, because they are rapidly multiplying cells, then they will catch up. We'll start having that insulin production that is enough to help them handle protein intake. So this is how insulin works, and this is how insulin can lead you into problems. This is how insulin leads you into weight gain. This is how insulin can lead you into kidney damage and more hypertension. So it will lead you into more metabolic syndrome that it's helping. So if you're on an insulin shot, start fasting, start eating OMAD and healthy keto and carnivore diets. Once you do that, sleeping also in the sun, very important to stabilize your hormones, because remember insulin is a hormone. Once you do that, then you achieve a certain glycemic control. So your blood sugar levels go back to normal, and you can measure them over a range of time. Then you start recovering from diabetes, and then you start tapering down this insulin dose and then do away with it completely. This happens to also type 2 diabetics. You'll start dropping your insulin levels, and then you start dropping those oral hypoglycemic agents. then recover. Now remember, insulin is a hypoglycemic agent. It's the drug that lowers your blood sugar levels to even lower levels. So it will take it even below the normal level ranges. Once it does that, then your body reacts by telling you, hey, I need more glucose. So you'll start eating more carbohydrates. That's what we call cravings. We talked about cravings. So this is how insulin works, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, share it widely. Thank you.